Hello and welcome to League of Gamers, the channel that brings you the latest video game news and top plays out there. These days, video games have all but internationalized, and you wouldn't be able to recognize a modern game by its dialogue alone. But that wasn't always the case, and it would be a perfectly common and accepted occurrence for games coming over from the Far East to contain some mistranslations that have since gone down in video game legend, forever immortalized as memes. Getting it wrong has never felt so right. For this list, we'll be looking at the botched attempts to translate something from one language to another that inadvertently led to hilarity. We are always bringing you more entertaining topics, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel League of Gamers for more up-to-date and entertaining content. Just one click on the bell icon and stay with us. Now, let's begin with the top 10 funniest translation fails in gaming. Number 10. Congratulation. Ghostbusters 1988. Movie tie-in games are almost always terrible, and this is especially true when the game is mistranslated. The NES Ghostbusters game is actually a Japanese port of a Commodore 64 and Atari 800 game developed by American company Activision, albeit with worse graphics, controls, and this infamous mistranslated ending title card. Besides the English invoking headline, the ending also makes the debatable assertion that the player has completed a great game, prove the great justice of our culture, and that they should go and rest our heroes. Maybe they should have called someone who could speak or spell the language instead. Number 9. Don't underestimate the power of Dolphin. Aero Fighters 2, 1994. This entry from Aero Fighters 2, an arcade and Neo Geo shoot-'em-up, is funny for a lot of reasons, and not just its poor grammar. As far as the mistranslation goes, there's probably a principle missing in there somewhere, or the word dolphin should be plural. However, the sheer fact that it is a quote said by an anthropomorphic dolphin fighter pilot named Spanky, or Whitey, depending on the translation, juxtaposed against an image of a map exploding is absolutely hilarious. This is the kind of imagery that allows this entry to transcend its silliness to become amazing. Number 8. Bimmy and Jimmy. Double Dragon 3: The Sacred Stones, 1991. Whoever mistranslated this must have had alliteration on the brain. When starting a two-player game in Double Dragon 3, the story text labels the protagonists not as Billy and Jimmy, but as Bimmy and Jimmy instead. Although the error only appears in two-player mode in that game, it became well known enough that it was incorporated into a later game franchise, Double Dragon Neon, which features bosses Bimmy and Jammy, who are demented, blurry versions of Billy and Jimmy, appropriately nicknamed the mistranslated mutants. Not every franchise can laugh at their mistakes along with their fans, so we have to tip our hats to Double Dragon for being willing to turn an amusing error into further comedy. Number 7. Your Winner, Big Rigs Over the Road Racing, 2003. There is plenty wrong with Big Rigs, from its poor graphics, controls, and bugs galore, but we'll stick to talking about its poor translations, among which is our next entry and the most infamous. Upon completing a race, or sometimes even before then due to a bug, the text "Your Winner" will be displayed along with a trophy that has not 2 but 3 handles, which is 50% better naturally. The game's abysmal grasp of English grammar, among its other problems, was likely the result of its development being outsourced to Ukraine to cut costs. A move that may have saved the developers money, but not their reputation after this pileup of a game. Number 6. Welcome to Die. X-Men, 1992. This quarter-devouring arcade game is fondly remembered for its simple and fun beat-em-up gameplay, but also for its poorly translated dialogue, which, unlike the majority of our entries, is actually voiced. There are several other notable funny quotes, such as "I am Magneto, Master of Magnet." Our pick has to go to this mistranslated declaration made by several bosses in the game, but most notably by Magneto, before the fight with Wendigo. The quote has become a tongue-in-cheek favorite for video gamers and X-Men fans alike, and is even referenced by Deadpool in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when fighting Magneto. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying watching the video. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, League of Gamers, for more amazing content in the future, and press the bell icon to be notified when the next video is live. Number 5. I Feel Asleep. Metal Gear 1988. The Metal Gear series is known for having some pretty goofy stuff in it, despite its nominally realistic setting, and its first game was no exception. Metal Gear, for the original Nintendo Entertainment System, featured some pretty terrible translations, such as "Contact Missing Our Gray Fox," and several others. But our pick was this one, which occurs early on in the game, and only on the second screen. A guard states first that he is feeling sleepy, and then that he feels asleep. Beside being a funny misspelling or grammar mistake, the fact that the man says anything at all while purportedly asleep and standing up is pretty dang absurd. Number 4. Your fists of evil are about to meet my steel wall of niceness. Fatal Fury Special 1993. Fighting games aren't exactly known for having a bounty of text to translate, so when what little there is gets botched, we've got to scratch our heads. But this quote did get lost in translation, and it's fortunate because it's one silly taunt. Displayed when using Geese Howard against Sung Fu Rei, this quote is apparently a mistranslation of the kind of ancient wisdom usually associated with old martial arts master like Tung. From Tung's presupposition that the challenger is a bad person, to the imagery he weaves of villainous hands and comparing himself to a metal wall composed of friendliness, this entry is a perfect storm of absurdity. Number 3. You Spoony Bard. Final Fantasy IV 1991. This comical, nonsensical insult is used during a serious moment in the game, and is believed to be either a poor translation or possibly done as censorship, since the original line was roughly to the Japanese equivalent of calling someone a bastard or a son of a bitch. Calling someone a spoony bard remains a popular insult among the gaming community, both for video games and more traditional role-playing games such as Dungeons & Dragons. Final Fantasy IV has been re-released many times, and due to the goofy term's popularity, it has been retained in the newer iterations of the game. Mistake or not, it's part of the Final Fantasy series history that fans treasure to this day. Number 2. I Am Error. Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link, 1988. A little on the nose, wouldn't you say? In this Zelda sequel, Link encounters a townsperson whose only dialogue is to state the most erroneous moniker. Fans of the series and video games in general are well acquainted with the famous error, and much debate has been laid over what the intended translation was. Is it simply the result of the Japanese alphabet lacking the L sound, making his real name Errol? There's even evidence to suggest that this may have been intentional, since there is another NPC named Bagu, the Japanese phonetic pronunciation for bug. Whatever the answer, this is one of the only errors on our list to introduce themselves quite so literally. Number 1. All your base are belong to us. Zero Wing, 1992. Could it be anything else? This phrase, along with the rest of the hilariously broken dialogue that makes up the intro to this game's European release, has become a viral internet meme for ages, thanks to that incredibly catchy techno remix and the Something Awful forums. Every line from "somebody set up us the bomb" to "for great justice" is memorable, utterly wrong, and extremely entertaining. Whatever future mistranslations may happen down the line, they'll have to be pretty terrible to make us forget this masterpiece of accidental video game humor. So, these were the top 10 funniest translation fails in gaming. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you can join the League of Gamers squad and be a part of the channel. As always, thank you for watching the video.